The Euphrates River. Location and major features. The river originates in Turkey, flows through Syria and Iraq, and then empties into the Persian Gulf. The Euphrates River is approximately 1,700 miles long and has three main shared tributaries. The Sajar and the Balik are shared between Syria and Turkey, while the Kabur sub-basin is shared between Iraq, Syria, and Turkey. Some of the major cities around the river include Baghdad, Mosul, Aleppo, Ramadi, Karbala, and Najaf. Its basin is distributed among 5 countries with a total estimated population of 23 million living around the river. The Tigris and Euphrates surround a triangular desert known as the Al Jazeera, near the borders of Turkey, Syria, and Iraq. The rivers have cut deep enough into the rock to preserve their courses since ancient times. Irrigation farming has changed the landscape to resemble levees and canals once used there. These landmarks and formations tell the history of human interaction with the river. Everyday life and agriculture. The Euphrates River is used as a source of irrigation and drinking water for most of the countries it runs through, so it helps feed the populations around the river. Wild pigs are common in the marshes and have spread into newly planted eucalyptus groves in other parts of the alluvial plain. Jackals, hyenas, and mongoose are found along the rivers in southern Iraq, and a large variety of Indian jungle cat reportedly still inhabits remote tamarisk thickets. Lions were last sighted along the Tigris in 1926. Foxes, wolves, and gazelles are common in the alluvial plain, and some of those animals range as far north as central Anatolia. Among the smaller animals are the species of gerbils, desert rats, hares, shrews, bats, hedgehogs, river otters, and the Buxton's mole rat, which covers the entrance of its riverbank burrow with a mound of clay. The Euphrates is high at the wrong time of year for most crops, so that cultivation by regular means cannot be practiced. The start of massive irrigation projects in Turkey heralds unprecedented change for the Piedmont area of southeastern Anatolia. Historically, the agriculture of that zone, as well as of northern Iraq and Syria, had depended entirely on rainfall. Some minor irrigation by means of mechanical lifts long has been practiced in southern Syria, where vines, olives, tobacco, fruits, and grains have been the mainstays. While intensive irrigation has supported Mesopotamian agriculture for thousands of years, it has caused, in combination with poor drainage, the progressive destruction of the soil through salinization. Irrigation water from the rivers, itself slightly saline, activates mineral residues in the soil, which rise to the surface through evaporation. It takes only a few years of over-irrigation to lower the yield in an area, eventually leading to fields being abandoned. A simple traditional method, alternate year following, can halt or at least slow the deterioration. Pollution from agriculture and domestic sources seriously affects the water quality. In Iraq, the Euphrates suffers from severe salinity that increases along the course of the river. Another major factor contributing to the ongoing pollution is that there is no effective water monitoring networks. Vegetation. In ancient times, oak, pistachio, and ash forests covered the mountains and foothills through which the upper Tigris and Euphrates pass. New plantings, particularly in Turkey, supplement the scattered remnants of those forests today. In the steppe zone to the south of the mountains, some vegetation can flourish year-round, but the growing season in most non-irrigated areas is quite brief. The wildflowers and other plants that appear in spring die off the heat of May and June. In the driest zones, camelthorn and prosopis are the dominant shrubs. The densest communities of plants exist along the rivers and in the marshes. Various reeds and the narrow-leaved cattail are abundant, and giant Mardi reed, which reaches a height of up to 25 feet, has been used as a versatile construction material since antiquity. The Euphrates poplar and species of willow grow in small belts beside the rivers and canals. The poplar provides strong timber for construction and boat building, as well as handles for tools. The date palm is indigenous to the region. 5-stamen tamarisk and mesquite form thickets along the lower and middle courses of the Tigris and its tributaries, up to an elevation of about 3,300 feet.